Sometimes, the moments that change our lives forever aren't marked by grand celebrations or headline-worthy events. Often, they arrive quietly, disguised as everyday encounters, a gentle word, a simple gesture, a fleeting act of kindness. These moments weave the fabric of our story, shaping who we become and how we touch the lives of others. This is the story of a debt of kindness, one paid by a stranger, and how its echoes endured long after, inspiring hope, connection, and a legacy that outlasted a single lifetime. It was a rainy afternoon in the city, the kind where the sky is a deep, endless gray, and the air is thick with the scent of wet pavement and promise. Commuters hurried along the sidewalks, umbrellas bobbing in a sea of navy and black. Beneath one of those umbrellas was Anna, clutching a worn bag in one hand and her phone in the other, anxiety tightening her chest with every passing minute. She had just left her office, her temp contract ending, her bank account nearing empty, and her rent due in 2 days. As she hurried toward the bus stop, she rehearsed the call she would make to her mother, the one she dreaded, asking for help again. Anna prided herself on her independence, but lately, life had been relentless. The bus arrived, its headlights glimmering through the rain like two hopeful eyes. Anna stepped aboard, digging through her bag for her transit card, only to realize with a sinking heart that her wallet was missing. She must have left it at the office or dropped it somewhere between the door and the curb. Embarrassment flushed her cheeks as she looked up at the driver, who waited patiently, the line of passengers growing behind her. "I'm sorry, I can't find my card. I think I lost my wallet," she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. The driver offered a sympathetic smile but shook his head. "I'm sorry, miss. Rules are rules." Just as Anna stepped back into the rain, defeated, a hand reached out from the crowd. A man, middle-aged, dressed in a worn but clean coat, held out a few coins. "Here, let me cover your fare," he said, his tone casual, as if paying for a stranger's ride was the most natural thing in the world. Anna hesitated, pride wrestling with gratitude, but the gentle warmth in his eyes reassured her. She nodded, her voice catching as she whispered, "Thank you." The man simply smiled. "We all need a little help sometimes." Anna found a seat by the window, watching droplets race down the glass. She wanted to say more, to express how much that small act meant, but by the time she turned to look for the man, he had already melted into the crowd, a fleeting presence, a stranger whose kindness had cost him little but meant everything to her. That ride home marked a turning point for Anna. It reminded her that, even in moments of vulnerability, she was not alone. That night, her mother's voice on the phone was softer, more understanding. She didn't ask for money, but she did share her worries. Her mother listened, and somehow, the world felt lighter. The next morning, Anna retraced her steps and found her wallet tucked beneath her desk at work. The relief was overwhelming, but it wasn't just about the recovered cash or cards. It was about the lesson she carried with her. Kindness is a currency that never loses its value. In the days and weeks that followed, Anna began to notice opportunities to pay forward the generosity she'd received. At the coffee shop, she noticed a young man short on change and quietly covered his bill. At the grocery store, she helped an elderly woman reach a can on the top shelf, offering a smile and a few minutes of conversation. Each act was small, perhaps unnoticed by the wider world, but for Anna, they were threads in a tapestry of connection. Years passed. Anna's fortunes changed. She secured a steady job, made friends in the city, and built a life she was proud of. Yet, that rainy afternoon remained vivid in her memory, a gentle reminder of the power a single stranger holds to change the course of another's day, or even their life. One evening, Anna sat in a quiet cafe, sipping tea and watching the city lights flicker outside. Across from her, a young woman fumbled with her purse. Panic etched across her face as she realized she didn't have enough money to pay for her meal. The situation was all too familiar. Without hesitation, Anna slid her card across the table, offering a reassuring smile. The gratitude in the woman's eyes was unmistakable, and Anna felt the warmth of that long-ago kindness rekindled inside her. As Anna walked home, she reflected on the invisible debts that bind us, not the ones measured in dollars or favors, but the debts of empathy, compassion, and understanding. She realized that the man on the bus had given her far more than the price of a ticket. He had given her a compass, a way to navigate the world with a gentler heart. The story of Anna and the stranger is not unique. Every day, in cities and towns across the world, people make choices to look away or to reach out, to judge or to understand, to keep to themselves or to extend a hand. Most of us will never know the full extent of the impact our actions have on others. The smallest gesture, a smile, a shared umbrella, a paid fare, can become the seed of hope in someone else's life. But the story doesn't end there. One rainy evening, years after Anna's first encounter, she found herself in a hospital waiting room, her heart pounding in her chest as she waited for news about her father, who had suffered a heart attack. As she sat, hands clasped tightly, a nurse approached with a cup of tea and a soft word of comfort. Anna recognized the same kindness she had once received, the gentle reassurance that, even in the darkest moments, we are not alone. After her father recovered, Anna began volunteering at the hospital, bringing tea and company to anxious families, sharing her story when it felt right. She met countless people, some grateful, some guarded, some too weary to speak. She learned that kindness is not always easy. Sometimes it means sitting with someone in silence or offering help that may never be acknowledged. But each time, she felt the debt she owed that stranger on the bus growing lighter. One day, a young man entered the waiting room, his face drawn with worry. He was there for his mother, alone in a city he barely knew. Anna sat beside him, offering the same comfort she had received. As they spoke, she realized that the circle of kindness was unbroken, that each act, no matter how small, became part of something greater. The debt of kindness, Anna understood, is never truly repaid. It is passed on, from one person to another, growing and multiplying with each new connection. It is the unseen thread that binds us, reminding us that our stories are not written alone. Years later, when Anna had children of her own, she shared the story of the stranger on the bus, the man who had paid her fare and in doing so, changed the course of her life. She taught her children that kindness is not weakness, but strength, that helping others is not a burden, but a privilege, that we are all, at times, the stranger and the one in need. Her children listened, their eyes wide, their hearts open. And as they grew, they carried that lesson with them, helping classmates, comforting friends, reaching out to those who seemed lost or alone. Anna's story is a reminder that we never know the battles others are fighting or the burdens they carry. The man on the bus could not have known how much his small act would mean or how far its ripples would spread. But by choosing kindness, he gave Anna, and all those she would go on to help, a priceless gift. In a world that often feels divided and hurried, we can choose to slow down, to see each other, to pay the price, not just in money but in time, attention, and empathy. Each time we do, we honor the debts of kindness that have been paid for us, and we plant the seeds for a more compassionate world. So the next time you see someone in need, a stranger fumbling for change, a friend struggling in silence, a neighbor facing hardship, remember Anna's story. Remember that a small gesture can last a lifetime, that kindness given freely is never wasted, and that the debts we pay today can become the hope of tomorrow. Because in the end, it is not the grand gestures or the monumental achievements that define us. It is the quiet moments of connection, the willingness to reach out, and the courage to care. When we pay the price for another, we become part of something infinite, a chain of compassion that binds us all, across time, across distance, across the unspoken spaces between us. This is the legacy of a stranger's kindness, a debt paid, a life transformed, a world made lighter, one act at a time.